Hey young man, alright, make sure you have your homework out. So if you have not taken it out, please make sure you take out those daily questions that you did yesterday, Monday, November 2nd, 2015. Once you have it out and in front of you, go ahead and continue playing the video so we can go over those two questions. Alright, let's start by looking at question number 1. Alright, so question 1 says an inclined plane can be used to raise a heavy load. Remember, a load is just another word for object. So it asks, how does an inclined plane make work feel easier? Alright, so in all four answer choices, we have one word that's in common. Do you all see what word it is that we have in common? Great job. The word decreases. So letter A talks about decreasing work. Letter B talks about decreasing force. Letter C talks about decreasing distance. Letter D talks about decreasing energy. Alright, so right off the bat, we should eliminate letter D because we haven't talked at all about decreasing energy or energy in general when we're talking about using inclined planes or any other type of simple machine. Alright, so let's start with letter A. It decreases the amount of work needed to raise the load. Alright, so even though we haven't talked too much in detail about calculating work, we have talked about how no matter how much force you use, if you don't move an object at all, you're doing zero work. But I do want you to write this down because it's very important to know this specific relationship when it comes to using a simple machine and work. So please write this down. A simple machine doesn't change the amount of work done. Alright, make sure you write that down. A simple machine doesn't change the amount of work done. Once you're done, you can pause the video, and then once you're done writing it down, go ahead and continue playing the video. Alright, so if a simple machine doesn't change the amount of work you do, then there can be a decrease in work. So letter A is not your answer. Letter B says it decreases the amount of force that needs to be applied to raise the load. Alright, so please go ahead and now write this down. A simple machine decreases the amount of force done. So that we do know about a simple machine. So go ahead and pause the video to write this down. Once you're done writing it down, go ahead and continue playing the video. Alright, so a simple machine decreases the amount of work done. Amount of force done. Alright, so we did an experiment in class where we did use an inclined plane, which is a ramp. We used it at different heights, and we measured the amount of force that it took to raise a load, okay, to raise an object. So, what you notice, and this is what you wrote down, and you do have it in your journal as well, when we tried raising the load straight up, it took about 2.5 newtons of force. However, when you simply raised it along the inclined plane, it took about 2 newtons of force or less, depending on how steep the actual inclined plane was itself. So that shows us right there that there is a decrease in the amount of force used when you use a simple machine, such as an inclined plane, versus lifting the object straight up. So far letter B looks like it could be our answer. Finally, let's go to letter C. Letter C says it decreases the distance over which the force must be applied. Alright, so this is very, very simple. So if you have your inclined plane, I want you to really pay attention to these arrows to see which one actually requires more distance. I can go straight up like this. Sorry, that arrow did not come out right. Let me just draw it on my own. This is the amount of distance you have here going straight up versus this distance going up the ramp. So look at it. Which one of those looks longer? Great job. This arrow right here looks longer, and therefore that one has more distance. So when you use a simple machine, did the distance decrease or increase? Great job. It increased. So in that case, letter C does not make sense, leaving letter B our answer. Great job, guys. Okay, let's go on to question number 2 next. Alright, guys, so question 2 says, look at the pulley on the right. Then it says, which direction will the load move? Alright, so we haven't looked at pulleys yet, for the exception of some examples when we first started talking about simple machines. But this one is actually a very, very easy one. Alright, so you know that a pulley works pretty much just like a rope on a grooved wheel, and it pulls objects up and things like that. It allows them to move easier because you're using less force. Remember, that's what a simple machine does. It allows you to use less force. So, let's look at this input force here. If we pull the rope in that direction to the right, which direction will the entire load move? Will it go down, like letter A? Would the load itself move to the right, like the input when you first pull the rope? Would the load go straight up, because that's the direction the rope is going as it goes through the pulley? Or would it move to the left? Great job. This is very simple. Once you pull the rope to the right up here at the top, the load itself will go straight up. Alright, great job, guys. Alright, so please do not forget to do Tuesday's daily questions for homework. You have 2 questions. One talks about what's true about inclined planes. It talks about the advantages and disadvantages. And number 2 talks about the different steepness, how steep a ramp is, and which one would require more force. Alright, so we did this experiment in class, okay, when we raised the load to the spring scale, so you have information in your journal to help you if you want to take it home. So, also do not forget to study. You do have a test on Wednesday on the inclined plane and pulleys. Pulleys will be just as simple as question 2 from Monday's homework, and the inclined plane, pretty much everything we're doing in the homework, the experiment, some of those things that you're doing with your science menus, all that stuff is going to be on the test. It's going to be very short, only 4 questions. It's just to assess, do you understand how it works or not, okay? So great job, guys. Go ahead and finish your science menus and your mousetraps if you're in Group A, and I will see you tomorrow.